you're looking to dive into topics on how to live a happier, healthier, more fit, and long lifespan, then you've come to the right podcast. Livin the Dream with me, Coach Damian Evans. Together, we will explore the topics on all things health, fitness, and wellness. Together, we will be lifelong learners on this journey to living the ultimate dream. What up, Dream Team? Coach D here, coming at you from beautiful sunny San Diego, and welcome back to the Livin the Dream Podcast. And today we are diving into Chapter 5 of Make Change That Lasts by Dr. Rangan Chatterjee, his most recent book. This chapter is called Take Less Offense, The Trap of Being Right. We live in an age where everyone has an opinion. And with social media, those opinions are louder than ever. But what happens when someone disagrees with you? Do you get angry? Do you get defensive? Do you get frustrated? If so, you might be relying too much on being right. And this reliance is holding you back more than you think. Today, we're breaking down why taking offense is a choice, why our brains crave validation, and how letting go of the need to be right will make you calmer, healthier, and more in control. This is one of the most powerful mindset shifts that you can make, not just for your own well-being, but for your relationships, your career, and your overall happiness. Let's start with a common example about being right that many of us have experienced: arguing on the internet. You go into the comment section, which you know is a bad idea. You see something that's triggering to you, and you have this desire to just set this person right, set this person straight. This person has no idea what they're talking about. I have to be the one to tell them what's going on. The social media effect, why we're addicted to being right. You post something and someone disagrees aggressively with you in the comments. Your fight or flight system goes on high alert. Oh no, what happens next? For many people, the heart rate begins to spike. The mind begins to race. And suddenly, this is life or death. It is war. They type out a heated response, fueled by emotion, determined to prove the other person wrong. But what does this actually accomplish? In the real world, what does this accomplish? Nothing. Most of the time, the other person doesn't change their mind. And now, instead of feeling calm, you're stressed, you're agitated, and you're caught in a battle that will never be won. This happens in real life too, at work, in your relationships, even with strangers. The problem is our brains are wired to seek validation. It's called confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is the tendency to look for evidence that supports what we already believe, while rejecting anything that contradicts it. It's not rational, it's emotional. And what's the result of that? People cling to their identities, feeling personally attacked whenever someone disagrees with them. And it gets even worse when you get stuck in this bubble of self-confirming biases. You follow people that believe what you believe, and then you get sent all this information that just confirms, and it's just like everything that is counter to what you believe. It's us versus them. But what if we didn't take offense so easily? What if instead of seeing disagreement as a threat, what if we saw it as an opportunity to learn, to grow? The cost of always being right, well, it's stress, it's inflammation, it's health risks. Taking offense isn't just bad for your mood. It is really bad for your health. Every time you get angry, defensive, outraged, your body releases stress hormones. And cortisol, adrenaline, these are not bad, but when you get these chronic high cortisol and adrenaline spikes over time. This leads to chronic inflammation, which is linked to heart disease, cancer, and autoimmune disorders. It's linked to high blood pressure, which increases the risk of strokes and heart attacks. It leads to poor digestion, gut issues, bloating, just overall discomfort. It leads to increased anxiety and depression. Your body treats arguments and disagreements the same way it would treat a physical threat. It puts you into fight or flight mode, and unlike real danger, these conflicts aren't actually life-threatening. So why are we letting our nervous system go haywire over a comment on Facebook, over an email from a coworker, or over a slight disagreement at the dinner table? At the root of taking offense is a fragile identity. The identity trap, how our ego keeps us stuck. When we wrap too much of our sense of self around a specific idea or belief or a label, then we feel attacked anytime it's questioned. Of course, that's our sense of self. Think about it. If someone criticizes your diet and you identify as a vegan or a carnivore or as a keto advocate because that diet has literally changed your life, if someone criticizes it, you feel personally attacked. If someone questions your political views, it feels like they're questioning your intelligence and your values. You feel personally attacked. And if someone makes a joke about your profession, it literally feels like they're undermining your entire purpose of life. But here's the truth. Your identity is not your beliefs. When we hold on to labels too tightly, we lose the ability to be open-minded, adaptable, and free. The strongest people are the ones who can hear different perspectives without crumbling. Let's talk about some examples here. The I have a different view perspective trick that he talks about in this book. I loved this. It was definitely kind of a mindset shift. It was a aha moment. This is a really great way to interact with someone who may have a different perspective. Next time you're about to snap back at someone, instead of saying, "You're wrong. You have no idea what you're talking about. You are so uneducated." Try this instead. Say, "I may have a different perspective." It immediately lowers the temperature of the conversation. It keeps the door open for dialogue instead of shutting it down with defensiveness. Try it in a work meeting. Try it in your family discussion. Or even, I don't recommend this, but maybe even with strangers online. You'll probably open up a Pandora's box. There's nothing that really good comes from getting in the comments, but hey, maybe try it. Watch how it changes the way that you react to people and that people react to you. People who always take offense are rigid. They see things in black and white, assuming they already know everything. But those who embrace curiosity are free. When you feel yourself getting triggered, ask yourself, what might this person's life experience be like? Why do they believe what they do? What can I learn from this conversation? This mental shift makes life less stressful, and it makes life more interesting. You'll start to feel lighter, calmer, and more open-minded. Because if you think about it, if you put yourself in the other person's shoes and you had exactly the same life that they had, the same upbringing, the same environment, the same life experiences, the same challenges, successes, everything, if you had their life, you would think exactly the way that they think. When you feel yourself getting triggered, ask yourself, what might this person's life experiences be like? And why do they believe what they do? Let's talk about Some actionable strategies here. How to take less offense. Number 1, how to take less offense. Pause before reacting. Before you fire back at someone, just take a deep breath. Give yourself 5 seconds to process. Take a deep breath and let it go. Give yourself 5 seconds to process. Pause before reacting. Number 2, how to take less offense. Use the different perspective phrase. Instead of arguing, say, you know what? I see it a little differently. Or, that's interesting. Tell me more. Number 3, how to take less offense. Detach your identity from your opinions. You can believe something very strongly without making it who you are. Number 4, ask questions instead of making statements. Curiosity dissolves tension. Instead of debating, get genuinely curious. Ask questions instead of making statements. And number 5, how to take less offense. Take social media breaks. This one is huge. The less time you spend in online echo chambers, the easier it is to let go of the need to be right. Take some social media breaks. Number 6, journal your triggers. When someone angers or offends you, put this in a notes section in your phone. You can just make a little folder, triggers. When someone angers or offends you, write it down. Ask yourself, why? Is it really about the other person? Or is it about your own insecurities? When you write them down, you'll start to see trends. And lastly, number 7, I love this one. Embrace I don't know. Saying I don't know is so powerful. It makes you stronger, not weaker. And it makes people respect you more when they know that you are not saying that you know everything, when you're not a know-it-all. So concluding here, the freedom of letting go of the need to be right. This is like dropping a heavy weight you didn't even realize that you were carrying. When you stop taking offense at every disagreement, life becomes lighter. It becomes calmer and life becomes more peaceful. You're going to argue less. You're going to feel less stressed and reactive. You'll have better relationships and more patience. You will be happier, you will be healthier, and you will be more in control. At the end of the day, do you want to be right or do you want to be free? Next up, chapter 6 is expecting adversity, breaking free from the reliance on things that never go wrong, expecting adversity, because life will throw you challenges, but how you respond is everything. So stay tuned. We'll talk about chapter 6 next week. And that's it, my friends. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of the Livin the Dream podcast. Please share the knowledge that you gain with your friends and family and hold each other accountable. If this episode inspired you, please share it with a friend who could benefit from what we talked about today. To support this podcast and help it grow, please subscribe on whatever platform you're listening to this podcast on and leave a review telling others how this podcast benefited you. Leave a comment on this episode on YouTube or Spotify, letting us know how you're incorporating what we talked about today. This is a non-cost way to help get this important wellness content into more people's ears. And make sure you tag me at livinthe_dream_podcast or at Coach Damien_SD and let us know how this episode benefited you. Let us know what we missed and let us know what we got wrong because we want to know. Message us if you have any suggestions or tips that would help your Livin the Dream team that we can discuss in future episodes. I will be right here with you working on making us stronger, happier, and healthier humans. Until next time, friends, keep living the dream.